Hello, and a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good and wonderful people of the tube. Well, today, hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Hello there, everybody. Today's video people of the tube is called The Guitars That Got Away. I get asked questions every now and again of like, is there any guitar you wish you hadn't sold? And I'm like, yeah, I think we've all got guitars like we've had in our lives that we've sold or let go for whatever reason and gone, why? So, I narrowed it down to these six. I went through all the guitars I've sold in the past, and this might be subject to change, but these are the six I came up with where I was like, oh, I really wish I still had that guitar. But, for whatever reason I sold them at the time, some of them make no sense. Some of them make sense why I sold them. Some of them I sold because I needed money. It's as simple as that kind of thing. It was circumstances or whatever. Anyway, so let's get to it. So number one, people of the tube. Oh, and also, by the way, there's 6 guitars I'm going to talk about today. In the description box below, I'll put links to. I think out of these 6, I don't have videos on 2 of them. I believe. I don't know. It could only just be one of them. Anyway, I'll get to that in a bit. But in the description box below, there is links to all these guitars. I documented them on this channel. So if you want to go back and watch my videos on those guitars, there's links in the description box below. So anyway, let's get to it. So first guitar is this one. This is my Rory Gallagher homemade replica Strat that I made in 2016, 2017. I think it's 2017. And basically, I'd always wanted, being a big Rory nut, I'd always wanted a Rory Gallagher Strat. So I was like, well, I can't afford the Fender one. Don't want the Fender one, it looks terrible. And I'd played 2 by that point, and both of them were just disappointments in the way they looked, the way they were wired wrong. Rory's Strat wasn't wired that way. They didn't play well. They didn't even feel like an old guitar. It just felt rubbish. And I still stand by that statement. I think the Rory Gallagher Fender signature is dire. Anyway, so I was like, right, well, I'm going to make my own then. I'm going to have to do it on a budget, obviously, because I don't have loads of money to splash about and get whatever. So what I did is I bought a Squire affinity Strat. It actually had a big headstock. I actually chopped the headstock off, down to make it more of a 60s style. And sanded off the logo, obviously, because, Rory's didn't have a logo. It'd gone, so, you don't want a logo on there if you're making a replica. So, although you could still see a ghost of Squire. It looked actually quite cool. I actually quite liked it. But anyway, I'd relic this one. It was a poly finish, and most of what you can see isn't the wood. It's the actual clear coat underneath. There was one bit where I got down to the wood, and that was the plectrum wear that I'd simulated, where basically Rory had kind of dug a trench with his plectrum over the years. But that guitar, I spent weeks on that guitar, getting it as close as I could to Rory's. I had a magazine at the time, I still have a magazine, of extraordinarily good up-close pictures of Rory's 61. And literally every little dent, scratch, nick, whatever, I replicated on that guitar. It was I got a bit insane with it to the point where I was like, oh look, there's like a millimetre scratch on the scratch plate. There we go. It got a bit obsessive. And I wired it like Rory's. It had 5-way selector, a master volume, master tone, middle pot did absolutely nothing. It was actually glued shut like Rory's was. It didn't move. Just there for show. And it had 3 Tone Rider pickups in it. I forget exactly what they were now. I'll probably say in the video, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it had 3 Tone Rider pickups in it. I sanded the neck down, like I say, discolored it all. I was so happy with the way it looked. And I sold it. And to be honest with you, people too, that's probably out of these first 2, well, I know I can't, I'll never see them again. But that one, I suppose, is the one where I might thinking, hopefully one day I'll see it again and I'll be able to buy it back. I doubt it highly, but the Rory Gallagher one would definitely, out of all these 6, that's the one I would want back the most. Never going to happen. And it pains me to think that like somebody bought that and it's changed hands a couple of times and somebody's resprayed it, or stripped it completely or whatever. I don't know. Either way, that guitar was amazing. I remember it just had something about it. It was just a really good guitar. And again, I'd spent so much time getting the relic right on it. And I was really happy with the way it looked. And yeah, that hurts, that one, people with tube. But again, I didn't need to sell that guitar. At the point I sold it, I was trying to get funds together to buy the 62 Strat. And again, thanks to some of you awesome people out there, I actually got that guitar. But the Rory Strat didn't need to go. Because it was only an affinity, it wasn't worth a lot of money. So I didn't get a lot of money for it. I think I got about 80, 90 quid for it. And, ridiculous. And I didn't need to get rid of it because I was selling so much other stuff that was bringing in more money. You know what I mean? I sold so much gear. Like, I'm not going to say exactly how much, but I sold so much gear to help pay for the 62 Strat. And again, it still took me 2.5 years to pay it off after that. I'm, again, still blown away by people who helped me with that one. It still boggles my mind. It never escapes me how insane that is and how grateful I am, to people who helped. I really appreciate it. But the Rory Strat did not need to go as part of that. And it annoys me I let it go. And like I say, that's the guitar that I trawl Facebook Marketplace for and go, maybe one day it will pop back up and I'll go, right, mine again. I'm buying that back. I'm having it back. I sold it in 2017, haven't seen it since. The odds aren't good, are they? But, hold out hope. Anyway, that's the first guitar Puma Tube. That's and I'll say, out of these 6, that's the one that I would want back the most, Because I'd spent so much time with it, getting it right, and so close to Rory's, and I played it so much as well. I really, really loved it. I used it for gigs, and I just liked having it around, and I miss it. I remember how it felt. I remember how it sounded as well, and it just worked. It did its job, and I really, really liked it. And yeah, it's a shame, but I sold it because I didn't need to sell it, especially not for 80, 90 quid. That was ridiculous. That was a ridiculous price I sold it for. And it was one of those guitars that at the time I was like, don't need to sell this, but I kind of like guilt tripped myself into selling it, and I don't know why. Anyway. It went, and that's the main guitar that got away. So that's that one. So moving on to guitar number 2 that got away. This one. This is my Revelation thin line, and again, another guitar that I sold and didn't need to sell. There was no need for me to sell this. I was actually okay at this point in time when I sold this guitar. I had basically... My brain did a stupid thing of, I haven't played that guitar for at least 2 days, I should sell it. Sometimes, people of the tube, I could swing for myself, I really could, and that is one time. So I decided, oh yeah, I'll just sell it. Yeah, you're right, brain, yeah, let's just get rid of it. Oh, I just kicked the tripod, I didn't mean to, sorry, I do apologise. But it's like, so I was like, yeah, let's just sell it, let's get rid of it, we don't need it. We haven't played it for 2 days, so we definitely don't need it. So I sold it. The thing you'll notice about it as well, it had a white scratch plate. It was actually tortoiseshell, but I sanded off the tortoiseshell bit because I wanted it to be red and white. And I really loved it. And to me, it looked like a sweet. It looked like some kind of like sweet you'd get. And that guitar was insane, man. Oh, that guitar was good. The Entwistle humbuckers, the way it played, the way it looked, the way it felt. Ooh, that guitar had it in spades. It really did. Same as the Rory Gallagher Strat. They do it. Them two. Again, these two. If I could get the Rory Strat back, I'd be really happy. If I could get the Revelation and the Rory Strat back, I'd be ecstatic. I'm not going to get either back, and I'll tell you a story about the Revelation in a sec. But it did. It felt amazing, and it sounded great. I used it a lot. I played that guitar a lot. It just was fantastic. I used it for Dukes Deluder. I used it for all sorts of things. I used it a couple of times for Trio. At the time, it was the trio. You know, and I used it for recording and just plonking around on, and I just really just loved the way it felt. And I sold it, and I shouldn't have sold it. Anyway, what happened was, long story long, I sold the guitar to this local guy. And as soon as he walked away, I was like, oh, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? You know, it's that kind of thing. You watch this guy walking down your garden path and you're like, but that's my guitar. And my heart sank. Anyway, about a couple of months later, he put the guitar up for sale, the Revelation. He put it up for sale. And I thought, I can get it back. I can get it back. I can get it back. He had it up for more than what I sold it to him for. You know, not substantially more, but a fair bit more than what I had sold it to him for. So, I didn't care about that. I was just like, you know, whatever, I'll just buy it back. So I messaged him saying, oh, you know, I'll buy that back off you now, actually. Guy replied saying, not selling it to you. Literally, I was like, what? I said, I don't know. And I thought, oh, maybe he kind of wants me to kind of like, maybe he thinks I'm going to try and like screw him over and say like, you know, I'll just pay you what you paid me for it. Which, you know, wasn't the way it was going to be. But I said, oh, no, I said, I'm happy to pay what you got it up for. I said, I just want the guitar back because it's really important to me, really special. And he went, nah, too bad. And he wouldn't sell it to me. And eventually he sold it to somebody and it ended up on eBay. And some guy messaged me saying, is this your old guitar? And I was like, yeah, that's mine. And he goes, oh, it's on eBay. So I went on eBay and somebody was selling it. And I was like, right, well, quickly, I need to make an eBay account. And before I even got chance, the guitar had sold. And from what I know, it's somewhere in Europe. I don't know where, but it went to Europe. So it's no longer in the UK as far as I know. So that's the story of that one. That's another guitar that got away. And again, I would want my Rory Strat back more over the Revelation, but if I could get that guitar back, that would be great as well. But again, you know, I sold that in about 20... I think I sold that in like 2016? Or is it 2018? I don't actually remember. Either way, it's quite a while back. And I sold that, and again, it was just one of those things of like, doy. Anyway, so that's guitar number 2. Guitar number 3 now, everybody, is this one. This was my vintage V100 gold top that I had extensively modified visually. Electronically, it was stock. It had the original. It had the P100s. There were stacked P90s. But I had modified it. You can see it's got a trapeze tailpiece, and you know the finish is weird. And I'd relicked it. And to this day, that's the only guitar with P90s that I've ever liked. I've tried a lot of guitar with P90s, and I'm yet to find a guitar that sounds as good as that with P90s. I've had quite a few guitars with P90s. I've had a Gibson Les Paul, Arbiter Les Paul Jr. I had a Gibson Melody Maker that was modded with 2 Gibson P90s. I don't know if I did a video on that one, but I didn't keep that guitar for long. It didn't work. And I've had a couple of other guitars that have come my way with P90s, but this gold top was something else. I don't know, there was something about it. It just sounded amazing and it felt amazing. And again, used it a lot and just loved it. You know, again, being a loony for gold top Les Pauls, it's my favourite colour of a Les Paul. You know, when I first got it, I was just like in awe of it. Here's a picture of me when I first got it. And look at that little face. Isn't he a happy little fella? Little did he know that he'd be sat here, however many years later, nearly 10 years later, going, why did I sell that? At the time, he wouldn't have sold it. Anyway. But yeah, so that's the third guitar on this list that, again, I wish I'd never sold. That one did go to help fund the 62. That was one of the ones that I did sell to help fund the 62. And, you know, I didn't get tons for it because it had been, like, you know, visually modified a lot. So, you know, a lot of, you know, people didn't want to pay people don't want to pay lots of money for a guitar that somebody else has modded that much, so I priced it accordingly. And just said is what it is. But it is one of those guitars where I was like, my God, maybe should have kept that guitar because it was a bit special. It sounded amazing. The neck was fantastic as well. I'd sanded the lacquer off completely, and it was just a bare mahogany neck. And God, did it feel good. Actually, when I first got that guitar, the lacquer on the neck, I didn't like it. It was very sticky. And it wasn't long until I actually sanded the lacquer off and started relicking the thing. And, I just got carried away, basically, with it. But it ended up, like, being this creature, like, that you see in the picture. And I just loved it. It was a great guitar. And it had a really unique sound. Like, really unique. Like, I've never heard another Les Paul P90 sound like that one did. It had a real, like, honk, like, real growl in the mid-range. And it was just a great sounding guitar. And again, used it a lot. It's been on this channel. I used it in a couple of videos at Old Hat and whatnot. And it was just one of those guitars where I was like, this is great. And then I sold it because I'm a complete idiot. Anyway. 'Tis what it is, people of YouTube. So that's guitar number 3. So guitar number 4 is this one that I'm using here live. Look, I used to have hair there. Amazing. Anyway, I remember that feel. I remember what it felt like. Depressing. Anyway, before anybody says it, no, I'm not shaving my head. Just deal with it. This was I think it was a 2004 made in Mexico 60s reissue Strat. Basically a little bit of a younger brother to Mr. White. And this guitar was... We had a bit of a weird love and hate relationship. This is one of those guitars where I know exactly where it is. And this is one of those guitars that if it came up for sale, if the guy decided to sell it, I'd buy it back. But if he never sells it, fair enough. Or if he gives it away to somebody else and I don't know, fair enough. It's one of those guitars that if I see it for sale, I'll get it. But if it doesn't come up for sale and I never see it again, bygones be bygones. I'm still gutted I sold it because it was a gorgeous guitar and it was amazing. Although we had a bit of a story. But it is one of those guitars where I was like, I still love it. And if I could own it again, I'd be very, very happy. But it's not like the Rory Gallagher. And it's not like the Revelation, where it literally torments me. Nearly on a day-to-day basis of, like, what have I done? You know what I mean? So, this red Strat, though, when I bought it, initially I bought it because I thought, what a perfect backup guitar to Mr. White. It's basically the same guitar. And I bought it... back in the day when you could get a guitar like that for, I think it was about 300 quid, 299. 60s reissue Fender Strat for 299. Wow. Anyway, and I just thought, what a backup, what a perfect backup, and it was cherry, candy apple red, and it looked gorgeous, mint green scratch plate, neck was close, not quite, but almost identical to Mr. White's. Everything about it was like, spot on. But every time I used this guitar, something bad happened. And I'm not even like exaggerating that one, people too. Literally, every time I took this guitar out and I used it as my main guitar, the gig would go bad. Something would fail. Something would break down. People would get nasty at us. Whatever. And I was like, is this guitar cursed? I think it's cursed. Literally, it was bizarre. So, I got scared of using it because I was like, this guitar's cursed. There's something wrong with it. Go away, evil one. But I didn't want to sell it. I was compelled not to sell the guitar for whatever reason. I don't know why. But I was compelled not to sell the thing, and I just kept it at home in my guitar rack. I was like, maybe one day. I don't know. I didn't think that. I just was like, I don't know. I just don't want to sell it. And initially I thought, well, actually, you know what? It's quite a good parts bin for Mr. White if things start to wear out or something goes wrong. You know what I mean? If one of the pickups dies, I can just nick the pickup from the red Strat. If the scratch plate breaks apart, which it kind of has. I could nick that. You know, I thought I'd use it as a parts bin because I didn't play it. Honestly, I tried with that guitar. I don't remember exactly when I bought it, but I remember I must have tried with that guitar for about 2 years, and every time I used it over a 2-year period, it came to me to every gig and all sorts of different places. Every time I took it somewhere, something weird or bad would happen. Really weird. Really, really weird. And when I stopped taking it, everything was fine. Because I got a road worn at some point, and I started using that as a backup to Mr. White. And nothing bad happened at that point. And that would have been about 2012, I think that would have been. So anyway, my brother joined a band as a guitarist. He was actually a bass player in the trio at the point in time. It was the trio at the time. And he actually joined a band as a guitarist and took a liking to the red Strat. And just started using that as his main guitar. And I was like, I'm fine with that because, you know, it's cursed. You take it, you know. If you want to use the cursed guitar, fine by me. So he used that and he really, really bonded with that guitar. Not to the point where, like, you know, you wanted to buy it off me or anything like that. He just really liked the guitar. And he looked cool playing it as well. It's probably my brother. He looks cool. It's not fair. You know, my sister looks cool. I just look like an idiot. But that's me. Anyway, so he bonded with that guitar loads. And anyway, he used that in that band until that band fell through. And then the guitar just came back to me, and I've just put it back in the rack, and I was like, you know, sit there and think about what you've done. And then one day, I was compelled to pick it up. I don't know why. I literally, to this day, do not know why. I just had to go and pick this guitar up. So I went to the rack and I picked it up and put it on. And I was walking around the house playing it. And it was like the curse had lifted. Like all of a sudden the curse, this darkness that surrounded this guitar, that imbued it with just this evilness, just had gone. It just lifted. Literally as I was walking around playing it, I remember standing outside the back of the house playing it and going, this guitar feels amazing. So I started using it at gigs. At this point in time, I'd switched over to using vintage V100s. But I didn't like the first vintage V100 I got as much as the second one I got that now lives with my friend Nicole Marja in France. So I was looking for a backup to my main V100. And I just thought, you know what? Why not? Let's take the red Strat to the next gig and see how we get on with it. And I used it the whole night. Nothing bad happened. And everything was just amazing. That guitar just sang. And it was just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And here's a picture of me playing it live. In the moment, people of the tube, there I am. You know, rocking out with it. And it just felt amazing. And I used it as my backup, slash main guitar. I didn't really have a backup at this period of time. There was kind of like, you know, that and the white refinished V6 Icon, they were my main guitars for quite a while. But I think my main one was the red one. The V6. I keep wanting to call it V100. It didn't take a back seat, but the red Strat kind of, you know, it was my main guitar. It was the go-to for life for for a fair few years, and there was just something about it at that point, and it was amazing. And then, like I say, I eventually sold it to help fund the 62 because being what it was, those guitars have kind of like, you know, they've got a bit of value to them, and obviously I wasn't going to sell my white one. I sold my road worn Strat because again there was a disconnect there with me and that guitar. I love that guitar and I relicked it to my John Frusciante's, but I sold it and I'm happy where it is. I'm glad where it went to. It lives in Ireland now with a really cool guy called Davey Holden, who's got an amazing amazing YouTube channel, by the way. And I sold the road worn to him. And I sold the red Strat again to this local guitarist around here. I know he's still got it. I've seen it. And I know he uses it. You know, I don't think he uses it a great deal, but he uses it. You know, And again, it's one, like I say, it's one of those guitars that if like it ever come back up for sale, I would buy it again. And I'd probably use it as well. But it was a fantastic guitar. It sounded amazing, felt amazing. Good lord. Yeah, now thinking about it, PeopleTube, I kind of am a bit more upset about that one than I first thought I would be, actually. Thinking about it just a bit ago, I was like, meh, don't mind so much, But I think, actually, come to think of it now, I think that is up there with the Revelation and the Rory Gallagher. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's those three that kind of like, if I could get those back, I'd be very happy. But, like I say, I know where the red one is. I know where this Candy Apple Red Strat is. But, again, this guy says, I'm not selling it. He said, it's too good of a guitar for me to sell. But he says that about a lot of things, this guy, and ends up selling things. So we'll just bide our time on that one, PeopleTube. It might reappear, you never know. The Rory Gallagher Strat, I don't think I'll ever see again. And obviously the Revelation, I don't think I'll ever see again either. So, moving on to guitar number 5. I'm going to have a drink quick, PeopleTube. So, John Frusciante and Jimi Hendrix's Tears. Very good today. So, guitar number 5. This one's annoying to me because I only have one picture of it. And it's this one. And I'm not holding it. It's actually Joe holding it in the picture. But this one was my Gibson 2000 and... Oh, he's forgotten. 2002? 2002? I don't know. 2001? 2004? I don't remember. This was my Gibson R7 gold top. Dark back gold top. And this is like, this is my, first major guitar that I was getting. I actually got it from Old Hat Guitars. And technically, in a kind of weird roundabout way, I technically never really owned it. Because what happened was, I was paying installments on it. But at the time, the owner of Old Hat just said, just take it and use it. You'll be fine. Just keep paying me, obviously the installments every month, and, take it, gig it, use it. And I did. That would have been about 2000 and... I would say 2010. 2009, 2010. That was when I got that guitar. And I think the Gibson I've got now, the standard, is better, but I actually don't remember. It was such a long time ago, this Les Paul. I remember it weighed a ton, the gold top, but it was a great guitar. It sounded amazing and it felt amazing, and it was a gold top with a dark back. And that's my Les Paul. I love my standard in its burst, and I love my other guitars as well, but gold top Les Pauls with a dark back is still my dream Les Paul. I've got my East Coast, which fills that void, which I'm very happy about. So thank gravy for that one. But it's still not a dark back in the way I want it to be a dark back. But that's me being really picky. I still love it. It's still a gold top and I still love it. But this was my first one. I remember actually, I was in Old Hat when this guitar came in. It came from America. I used to get shipped. I didn't work for Old Hat at this point either. It came in from America. They used to get shipments in all the time from America. They had a guitar dealer over there who would send stuff over that no one would buy. They would come in and they'd get put on the shop floor. And I remember like being in the shop, and it was me, Joe was with me, and John, the guy who ran the shop for Norman when Norman wasn't there. Miss John. One of the most awesome human beings I've ever met in my life. He really is. Really is. And so, anyway, I remember he was unboxing his guitars, and he pulled out this Gibson custom historic black case, opened it up, and there it was, black, gold top, dark back. And I went, heart started going really fast. I'm going to have to have a go on that, John, I hope you don't mind. Picked it up. 5 hours later, after I'd annoyed everybody, I lost track of time, people. I literally was sat playing this guitar for 5 hours in the shop. We got there in the morning, and oh my god, to this day I feel I owe Joe a massive apology for that. It's so bad, so bad. I was just sat there playing it through this Fender amp for 5. It didn't feel like 5 hours to me, people. I was away with the fairies. I did not. I was happy as Larry. I did not. I was Mr. Selfish. I did not care. I was away, not knowing the fact. Obviously, like, you know, Joe sat like this, you know, bored to her back teeth with me just wailing away on this thing. Anyway, I was like, I gotta have this. Got to have this guitar. Got to have it. So I made a deal. At that point in time, I was actually saving up to buy another guitar they had I did it again. Old Hat, which was a Gibson Double Cut Junior they had, which I really, really liked, but this gold top, man, trumped it in every way. So I was like, can I, you know, I was like thinking, well, I can shift over the money, because I'd already been paying for this Junior. And I thought, well, I've paid about 500-600 quid off that guitar, and the gold top was 2,500. And I thought, well, I've got a lot of gigs coming up, which I did, and I thought, well, I can keep putting money aside and just kind of like, you know, save up and just keep paying it off. So I did a deal with Norman and John about it, and Norman said, I'll just take it, use it, enjoy it, play it. So I did, and I used it at gigs and used it a lot. And my gravy lords, there is somewhere in the house, I don't know where it is, somebody took pictures of us at a gig, and I'm using the gold top, and there is pictures of me with this thing. I just don't know where they are, but that's the only picture I've got that you've seen. Is the only picture. I've got no video of it either. It was way, you know, it was gone way before I started doing YouTube. So eventually what happened was I needed money, and I needed money fast. So basically what happened was I was like, well, the only thing I know I can get rid of really quick is the Gibson that's going to give me the money I need. So I took it back to Old Hat and said, look, you want to buy it back off me? And they did. My idea was that maybe I can sell it to them, they can put it aside, and maybe I can, you know, just come back in a couple of months and buy it back. You know, maybe that's a possibility. Maybe I can do that. And so, gave it back to him, heartbroken, obviously, and left the shop heartbroken. Paid what I had to pay for it. It was for my van at the time, actually. I needed it, obviously, to get round to gigs, and it wasn't right. So, obviously, you know, priorities. You know, so, and again, I needed the money fast because I had gigs coming up, and I needed to get the van fixed. So, money went on the van, got it fixed, job's a good one. And I went back about a month or so later on to Old Hat and said, oh, you still got my Les Paul? And they said, no. It literally sold a week after, or something like that, after I'd given it. Guy came in, oh, I love that, took it, gone. And it's one of those, you know, bittersweet things that we all have. Us, you know, we've all been there with guitars where you just like, yeah, you sell them and you're just like, ew. But that one, like I say, it was a great guitar. It really was a great guitar, and there was obviously a connection there with me with it. But I don't really remember it as well as I would like to. I remember a lot of guitars. I really do. I remember a lot of guitars that I've played. But for some reason, it's kind of a black hole, that one. I don't really know why. I didn't write down the serial number either, which really annoys me. I wish I'd written down the serial number so I knew what it was, because I'd be able to say, this is the serial number. If you have it, is it good? I obviously loved it because, like, you know, I used it a lot, man. I used it at every gig. It was basically my main guitar, pretty much, alongside Mr. White. It was kind of like shared duties. I used to take it everywhere with me. It was just, like, fantastic guitar. Anyway, so that's guitar number 5. So let's move on from there. So yeah, again, but that, like I say, just to finish on the gold top, actually, that's kind of a bit open-ended. I don't like that. So just to finish on that gold top, it was, again, that's one of those guitars that, like, if I didn't see that one again, that one is fine. You know, that's the one I've kind of come to terms with. You know, the Rory Gallagher Strat, the Revelation, and the Red Strat. I haven't come to terms with them. I thought I had with the Red Strat, but I definitely haven't. You can tell by the way I was talking about it. But the R7 Gold Top, it is one of those things of like, Yeah, but I still feel my standard, the Gibson standard I've got now, is a better guitar. I swear the neck's better, I swear it plays better, and I swear it sounds better. Because I do remember the R7, it was quite a dark sounding guitar, whereas my standard sounds like like a Les Paul. It's got that thing. Not to say the R7 didn't sound like a Les Paul, definitely did, but it had a bit more of a darker, warmer tone to it. Whereas the R7, the standard, has got a bit more of that kind of like 59 bark, where it's a bit more Telecaster on steroids thing, which I like. So the R7, it went its way, and that's fine. Again, that is one of those ones where, like, I don't know the serial number. I don't know if I even picked it up again, would I even know it was that one? It's one of those, you know what I mean? So anyway, but yeah, great guitar, but it's gone. But that's another one I got away. So on to the last one, PeopleTube. Now this one is a bit of a weird one because I actually don't know if I've got a video of this or anything. So if there's a link in the description box below, it means I do have a video on it. If there isn't one, it means I never filmed one. In which case, you're an idiot, Dave. So this, is another Squire Affinity I got as a modding platform, and I relicked it, and I called it The Thing. It had two, I do believe they were Gibson humbuckers in it, and the middle pickup was a gold foil that my friend Richard had given me. It was like some like a weird gold foil pickup, and it was wired in a really funky way. I had wired it in a really, really weird way, but I actually don't remember how it worked. But this guitar was amazing. It really was amazing, and it was such a cool, weird looking thing, hence why I called it The Thing, because I was like, I don't know what this thing is anymore. Oh, just said it, The Thing. Yeah. And I don't really do that, but it had the two humbuckers with black surrounds on. I don't know if it was it a mint green guard? I'm just going to check the picture, PeopleTube, because I can't remember now. I don't think it was, actually. No, I think it was like a creamy kind of off-white kind of like a parchment kind of style scratch plate. But it had a big headstock. The neck was to die for. It was a great neck. That is one thing I will say about Affinities. I really like the necks on Squire Affinities. I think, again, like I say, I just can't abide the pickups. They're awful, in my opinion. But like I say, this had two humbuckers in it. I'm pretty sure they were Gibson humbuckers. And I say that gold foil sounded absolutely wicked, especially when you combined it with the humbuckers. When you'd put it in mid position 2 or 4, I'd wired it out of phase as well. So basically, when you put it in 2 and 4, they was out of phase. In the middle, because I remember it was pretty standard. But so it was like position 1 at the back was the bridge pickup, position 2 was bridge and gold foil, middle was just a gold foil. Actually, come to think of it, I think position 4 was all 3, and then position 5 was just the neck humbucker. If I remember correctly, I think I got my. I don't know. I don't remember. Again, quite a while back now. I think that was 2020. No, 2019. I do apologise. Or is it 2020? I don't know. I'm so terrible with these things. But this thing was a great guitar. Again, sold it for no reason. This is one of those guitars I just didn't need to sell it. And again, it was the same thing as the Revelation. It was that stupid voice. You haven't played that guitar for a day. I think you should sell it because you obviously are never going to play it again. So that's what happened with that one. And again, I think I sold that guitar for like 60, 70 quid. With Gibson humbuckers, because, sometimes Dave's brain really knows what it's doing. Anyway, that guitar was amazing. I really liked the relic job I did on it as well. It looked cool, and it played great, and it sounded great, and it was just a great guitar, and I just loved it, and it really was a thing. I was like, what the hell is that? It looked weird, and it sounded weird. It just sounded great. I remember it had 500k pots in it. To offset the humbuckers, and the 500k pots did something to the gold foil because it was seeing more than it should. But yeah, it was a fantastic guitar. That was really fantastic. I loved it. It had a big headstock. I actually at one point I sanded off the Squire logo because I was getting I wanted to kind of write on the headstock the thing, but I didn't know how to do it because I was thinking of like one of my favourite films of all time, People Tube, is The Thing, and I was thinking, can I somehow get a logo that looks like the Thing film logo and put it on the headstock, because that would look really cool. But before I had a chance to do that, I sold it because I'm a complete div. But again, that's a guitar that I sold, didn't need to sell, but did. If I see it again, that's wicked. If it comes up for sale, I'd probably buy it back. But it's not one of those ones where I'm like, So basically this list is boiled down to 3 that I really, really want back, and 3 that kind of like, if I got back, cool. If I didn't, it's fine either way. And that's news to me, actually. I didn't think that was going to happen in the video. I was pretty sure I had a firm grip on what I knew I really wanted back, to kind of like, if I got back, I'd be like, that's pretty cool. Obviously if I got all these guitars back, I'd be ecstatic. But life doesn't work that way. But yeah, there you go, People Tube. So that's the guitars that got away. Say the Rory Gallagher Strat, the Revelation thin line, and the red Strat, and those 3. It does make me wonder. Like I said, I know the Revelation went to Europe, and it's probably still there in Europe. So I don't know where. I just know it went. I know it's shipped out of England and went to Europe. But come to think of it now, was it the guy? I don't remember. I'm not going to go down that line of story because I don't actually remember what exactly happened there. But yeah, like I say, the Rory Gallagher Strat, I sold that to a local guy. I just don't know who he is. I don't know where it went or this, that, and the other. I really don't know. So there we go, People Tube. That's the 6 that I was able to narrow down, because I've been thinking about this video for quite a long time and kind of like narrowing it down to kind of like, because there's a lot of guitars I've had where I've kind of gone, I kind of wish I hadn't sold that. But when I really think about it, I think, nah, it was okay. I did a Dave Murray replica black Strat that I sold, and I thought, should that be on the list? And I'm thinking, not really, no. I mean, I love that guitar. I really did love that guitar, but not as much as these 6. And that was like the criteria, because there was a couple others as well where I was like, did I love it as much as the Rory Gallagher? And does it haunt my every move? No. If it didn't, if that was the answer, then it didn't appear. So, anyway, People Tube, now I want to hear about your guitars that got away. Comment section below. Let me know what is your biggest regrets. What are the guitars that you had to sell or didn't have to sell that you got rid of anyway and regret? Let us know in the comment section below, because we've all got these stories. I think everyone's got those stories of like, why did I do that? I've got it with amps as well. I sold my first ever Marshall Flexi head, and I really wish I hadn't. I really wish I still had that, but such is life. I sold a couple of things as well, and a couple of other things that I'm just like, amp wise, and just gone, why? But these are the 6 guitars. So, People of Tube, let me know in the comment section below. What did you sell that you wish you hadn't? What's the guitar? Like I say, either you had to because you needed money, or you didn't, and you just did that thing that I do, which is like, I haven't played it for a day, maybe I should just sell it, because I feel guilty about things I shouldn't feel guilty about. Anyway, let me know in the comment section below. So yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. I hope it's been somewhat interesting. If you like the channel, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. Links in the description box below, as well as links to my socials and me band Red Giant socials. If you haven't subscribed to the Red Giant YouTube channel, please go across to the Red Giant YouTube channel and subscribe, and follow us on the social media stuff. I really, really appreciate it. We really need your support and help with that one. So if you can do that, legendary. Thank you so much indeed. Other than that, thank you much indeed, and I'll see you again very soon for another video. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, and goodbye now. I'm off to cry because I feel upset now.